Hey everybody, this is Colin at Black Dog Outdoor Sports, and today we're continuing on with the 10 essentials. So today's item that we're going to be referring to is going to be insulation. So what is insulation? Well, insulation would be what they're trying to get across as layering. So layering of clothing. So whenever you're out in the backcountry, you need to, prepare for the elements that are there, whether it's super hot outside or whether it's cold or whether you're starting in a warmer area and then elevating to a colder region. You need to be prepared for any change in climate, whether it be rain or snow, etc. So layering and having good insulating layers is going to be crucial. Now, this is also the same for winter travel, whether you're on trail or in a vehicle. So when we start thinking about layering, what is important? Or how does the layering process work? So first we want to have a good base layer. So a good base layer is going to be something that's right against your skin. Now the purpose of having something right against your skin is not necessarily for warmth in this case, but for a insulating / wicking potential. So when we're outside and we're exerting ourselves and we're working, we have body heat, and the body heat gets regulated by sweat. So if we have layers that are in direct contact to our skin that can pull that moisture away and keep our skin dry, we're going to stay warmer or cooler depending on the scenario. So good layers that we want to have right against the skin. And now in this case, sometimes thinner is better, so that we can bulk up and add more layers beyond. So a really fantastic material for layering as your base layer from a wicking potential is going to be nylon polyester. Most of your long underwear out there right now, capilene is kind of I believe what Patagonia uses, or their name brand. Bergaline is what Eastern Mountain Sports uses. North Face and everybody else has their own kind of Eline, if you will, which is basically a polyester nylon material. So that is going to draw out moisture through the other layers so that it can evaporate, and then you stay either warm or dry depending on the elements. Silk is also a fantastic base layer. A little bit more on the expensive side, but silk is a really, really light, very smooth, and a very, very great wicking capability. The downside of having anything nylon or polyester is that it's a plastic, and plastic can melt if it gets too hot. So if you're going to be cooking or boiling water and you accidentally spill some of that on your insulating layers and it gets right down to your skin level, that bergaline or capilene or whatever synthetic material is can actually melt into your skin. So that's something that in the backcountry could be very, very, very bad, extremely painful, hard to remove, and then a great cause of infection. So that's another reason why the silk, more of a natural fabric, would be good, because it's not going to melt. Another really great, long, long time quality base layer is going to be wool. So Smart Wool makes a really, really terrific base layer system, as do other companies. But I'm wearing wool right now. I wear wool a lot in the wintertime. It's super durable. It does not hold smell, which is really good. And it lasts a very, very long time. Now, wool is going to keep you warm even if it is soaking wet, which is a really great thing. All these base layers are designed to do that as well, whether it's a synthetic, a silk, or a wool. A base layer that we want to get away from is going to be anything out of cotton. So there's a saying that cotton kills. Cotton, although a natural material, does not insulate us when wet. It actually draws more cold to our core, which is going to cause hypothermia. So in the summertime, cotton might be great, because if we can douse ourselves with some water, it's going to retain that moisture. It's going to help cool us off. But anytime when the weather's cold out, or we're elevating to a colder elevation, we don't want that cotton as a base layer. Same thing with socks. Good quality wool socks or poly socks are going to be the best from a wicking standpoint and also a friction reduction standpoint. Cotton might be great on the tennis court, but in the backcountry when we're walking, if we're sweating, that material is not super great on our feet, and then we can get those blisters from that friction. So think about socks, probably as important, if not more important, than a regular base layer. So now we have our base layer right against the skin. Then we're going to have layers of insulation. So in this case, I'm wearing kind of a Patagonia R3, which is kind of a waffly print, not that you can see it, but it's like a heavy long john over a base layer. And then I'm wearing this Patagonia Better sweater, which is a much heavier layer as well. All of these are going to be of that synthetic and natural fibers. And then I would maybe put on a vest or a jacket. And again, the more layers we have, the warmer we're going to be. To keep everything really nice and tight, not nice and tight, but nice and, I guess, the best warmth factor that we can have, we want to have those base layer, insulating layers, and then a shell. So think of like skiing. You know, if you're downhill skiing, you're sitting on the lift, you're freezing your butt off. All those insulating layers are going to help keep you warm. But if the wind can penetrate through these layers to your skin, you're going to be cold. So a shell, a rain jacket, a windbreaker, anything like that is going to repel moisture and also that wind factor. So it's going to keep or isolate that warmth in your insulating layers. There's a saying, or not a saying necessarily, but a practice that we want to get in the habit of: start out cold, end up hot. So when we get to the trailhead, if we're going to be snowshoeing, it's a really awesome idea to strip down a little bit and start hiking or walking so that we're cold. And the idea is we can get farther without sweating to death because we're starting off a little chilly. We can always add layers to get warmer. It's hard to remove those soggy layers, and now they're wet later on if we started out too warm and then we got too hot too quickly. So start out cold, end up hot. You can always add dry layers if that's the case to get warmer. But once we've saturated those layers with sweat, it's really difficult to dry them out, and now we're in trouble. So insulating layers, again, base layer, mid layers, outer layer is going to be that shell, and all of those work very, very well together. All right, well, keep your lines tight and shoot straight.